My name is Jesse, and I work with small businesses in the government marketplace. You're listening to FedBiz 5, where you get informed, get connected, and get results on everything government contracting. Hello, and welcome to another episode of FedBiz 5. This episode is all about doing research in government contracting. As a business owner, it's important to stay ahead of the competition, and one way to do so is to have the most up-to-date information on government contracting. Joining us today is Barry Nelson, an expert in conducting market research in the government marketplace. Welcome, Barry.
Hey, thank you very much for having me.
Happy to have you. So let's just jump right in. Could you tell us a little bit about you and your history in government contracting?
Okay, well, I've been selling to or been part of the government pretty much steady since 1970. I've sold the government all its electronic commerce systems, sold them all their software, all the Microsoft software, all the things they use to convert all the microfilm and fiche and all that stuff to an optical image. I did a lot of work for Motorola, built their database systems for their satellites. So, a little bit of everything. I think when I first got out of the military, I sold graves. So, I've been from cradle to grave, truly. So I got into the intel part of the thing, the research and intel, simply because there was a void when microfilm was the media of choice. There was a void in any kind of intelligence besides paper. So you had paper indexes and you had microfilm as the database. So I decided that while the microfilm wasn't anything to be done about that in the early 70s, that there was something to be done by using typewriters, modern typewriters in those days, IBM kind of thing, to create a word process index. So that's how I got my start in the database world. And from that, I ended up building all the electronic commerce systems in the military, all their parts systems and that kind of thing. Made a lot of money and of course, threw away a lot of money, as we all do. But what the system does now that I currently am involved in is we provide all the research tools on how to do business with the government. And that tool that FBA provides you all the information you need to sell into the $2 trillion market. So selling into the market, most people sell in the market by simply bidding. They think they're selling something. Well, of course, I don't believe that. I believe you're just bidding on something. And over the years, last 15 years, there have been over 3.3 million companies selling into the government marketplace. By selling, I mean bidding typically. Of that, only 600,000 have ever sold anything to the government. So that means there's a lot of people doing a lot of bidding and not doing anything because of it. So you have to be proactive. So the tools that we provide simply allow you to do that. Go in and to find out where are all the contracts. This year, there's about $800 billion in military and federal government, and a similar number of dollars involved in the state and local marketplace. So anyhow, the big trick here is that this is not a bidding world. 95% of all these contracts are repetitive in nature. So by using our database, I can tell you who won the contract last time, how much was involved in it, what the contract agency was involved in, how much money they gave out. Anything and everything, I like to say, is the who of that contract. So if a person is going to be proactive, then they need to know in advance what they can sell and who they're going to sell that to, knowing that there's going to be a solicitation coming out at some point about the time the last one stopped. So we have that database on all the contracts. We have, if there's a drawing involved, we have that. If there's an old solicitation, we maintain the old solicitation. We have all the data on all the contracts awarded back to 1976 on some of these contracts in the parts world, and we go back to 2005 in the services world. So we can tell you everything about all those contractors, the name of the guy that's involved in it, all his contact information or her contact information, anything about that company and how much dollars they've won. Now, that's important in case you want to team with them. So teaming is important when you want to go and be able to get into the government sales quickly. Go to a company that's already in that system. They're already in the system of awarding awards. So you want to team with them so that you can be part of that trend to make money selling to the government. So it's nothing fancy, but it's making money, and that's what we need to do.
Absolutely, absolutely. So what are the key factors to consider when conducting market research for GovCon opportunities?
Well, obviously, you want to know the contracting officer's name. You do a keyword search. We determine that you do janitorial services. So we said, what contracts are going to be up to date this year and next that are going to come due that are janitorial services or remediation, whatever it might be, engineering of any kind. And with that, you'll get an Excel that says, here's all the contracts that are come up due. Here's how much money's involved. Here's the agency involved, what they look like, the contracting officials, anything and everything to do about that. And when you hit a certain link, we will actually show you all the contract history of that winning contractor. So, and that's important.
Would you mind explaining what the benefit is for going after expiring contracts?
Well, 95% of all contracts are expiring, especially any service contract. They're just regurgitated. The government doesn't make anything new. They're not hiring new secretaries typically. They're not hiring new jets or any of that kind of thing. They're just maintaining old. And so with that, all these IT contracts, all that stuff, security guards, anything and everything that you can think of for these massive facilities are just orders that they were let out last year or 5 years ago and now are going to come due for renewal. And so that's what you got to do is be proactive. A quick contract in the government might be anywhere from 4 to 6 months. So you got 2 ways to get it. Go after it just directly, but be prepared for a wait till it comes up, or team with somebody that's already in that space.
Can you elaborate on how, like the teams?
Well, you've got 2 types of people. You've got award winners typically you want to go after because you want a team with somebody that has experienced the contract awarding process, that knows how to get into that account, whether it's the VA or FAA, whatever it might be. And so you want a team with them. That means that person is a vet and a disabled service vet, and you're an IT person, so is he. You go to him and say, hey, I got this contract coming up due in September, and I'd like to go after it. And I want to have somebody that I can team with that provides some capabilities that I don't have, as well as a vehicle. So that's teaming.
Okay.
If you want to talk about selling to primes, that's the main contractor in that contract. So you go to him and say, look, here's what I do. I was going to bid on this direct, but I'd rather be a sub to you. And so here's all the contracts you've got within the VA. Here's everything I know about you and everything else that you've ever sold in the government. Can I be a subcontractor to you? And so that's the one of 2 ways to get into that guy as a teaming or selling to the primes.
Wonderful. Is there any advice you could give before we get off here?
Well, my advice is look at this thing as a bid or no bid proposition. When you go into these contracts, if you think the lowest price wins, to a certain degree, that's true. But if you don't know enough about it to bid, the contracting officer is going to sniff that out pretty quick. So you got to have anything and everything, all your ducks in a row. There's a thing called a FOIA, the Freedom of Information Act. You can use that tool to gather more information on that existing contract you're going to chase. So we provide all that data and on how to go after that.
Yeah, kind of like what FedBiz Access's market intel database can do, right?
That is correct. We collect all the data, put it in one place for you to use.
Thank you again. I really enjoyed having you on, and I hope to have you on again sometime.
Very good. I look forward to it then.
All right, take care.
Bye-bye.
This concludes this week's episode of FedBiz 5, where you get informed, get connected, and get results. Today's podcast is sponsored by FedBiz Access, government contracting made simple. Visit them at fedbizaccess.com or contact them at 888-299-4498.